This video is brought to you by Miniature Market. Thousands of board games, discounted prices, miniaturemarket.com.
Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. Today we're going out of this atmosphere. We're going into space. We're going to be landing on planets. We're going to be orbiting planets. We're going to be trying to colonize those. Today we're talking about Tiny Epic Galaxies from Gameland Games. This is for 1 to 5 players. It is sort of a dice rolling, engine building game. Let me show you how it's played. I'll see you on the other side. At the beginning of the game, each player gets to pick their color, which comes with their galaxy, their ships, and all their little bits. Once you've selected your galaxy, let's check out your Empire track. This is a track that over the course of the game, at the beginning, you have 2 ships and 4 dice. So on your turn, you'll have 4 dice to roll, and you have 2 ships to move to other galaxies. As this Empire track moves up, you're going to gain more ships, you're going to gain more dice, and you're going to gain some points. At the beginning of the game, you're going to get 2 secret goals. You're going to select one and place it, and these might be, hey, gain 2 points if you're the one to trigger the end of the game. Or gain 2 points if your Empire track has already completed at the end of the game. You'll select one of these secretly, and you'll place it under your mat. That is your secret goal for the game. Now basically we have the game set up here for 3 players. There's 2 more planets than the number of players, and we have the activation bay, which is common to all players, both of these. I have my mat closer just for the video. It normally wouldn't probably be this close to here, but to keep everything in, that's what we're doing. Let's talk about what you can do on a turn. At the beginning of the turn, you check where your Empire is. We know we're getting 4 dice. We would take 4 dice and we would roll them. Let's say this is what we got. Now you always get 1 free reroll, but let's say you can start activating dice as you want. Let's say we want to activate this one, and this one is move a ship. Now when you activate a die, you'll take it and you'll place it in the activation bay going left to right, and then you'll take that action. For moving a ship, you can move any one of your ships that are active, meaning in your galaxy or on another planet, and you can move it to any other planet. Or back to your own galaxy if it's there. So let's say we want to take this ship and move it to a planet. So let's say we wanted to come to this one. We have 2 choices. We can either land right on the planet, and when we do that, we get to activate this ability, which is reroll any number of your inactive dice. Those are the ones that we haven't yet used yet. Or I can place it down on its side and begin to orbit the planet like this. And what I'm trying to do here is, over the course of time, we're going to use some planets. They have 2 different ways of moving up. Basically, it could be diplomacy like this, or sometimes it can be economy like this. And so let's say I just move my planet, my ship to this planet, and I'm orbiting. That would have been my move action. Later on, I could take this and actually move it to somewhere else. I can't move it to the same planet or from the same planet to the same orbit, but I can move this to another planet if I want later, or move it back to my own galaxy, but that is moving. If one of my dice did have this on it, I could advance up on this, any one ship on one diplomacy track, up 1. So I could do that, and I could have activated this in the activation bay. Now, if I do activate it 2 more times with 2 other dice, and I get here, any other ships that are on here would go back to their home galaxies, and this would go back to my home galaxy, and I would actually get to score this planet. And so you would place this card right underneath your galaxy like that. It would line up. And now, in addition to this, now that it's there, not only do you get the 2 points, you'd call it how many points you have, but if you had a die that was an activate utilize colony, it's the same icon as right here, you can basically do any of the abilities, any of the, basically the colony actions that you have here. So if I had this, I could activate it, and then re-roll any number of my unactivated dice, re-roll all those. Or I can use the default one, which is on everybody's, which is upgrade your Empire, and that's the Empire track. And you can use energy or culture. Now those are tracked here. Now for example, I have 1 culture and 2 energy. To get to the next on my Empire track is 2. So I would have to go down 2 on either of these tracks. You can't share them. So I would come down on energy from 2 to nothing. So essentially it comes off my board. And then I could go up here. Now what this has done is from the future turns, I'm going to get 5 dice and 1 point I've just added. So now I have a total of 3. And that's how you advance up the Empire track, by using the utilize colony. But you could also do it. You could also, with that with this die, instead of doing one of these, you could do any of the other abilities from the planets that you have gotten. So it's sort of that engine building mechanism there. And now that I've gotten that planet, a new one comes out pretty much right away. Now if I'd used this die here, which was an energy die, basically I would activate this and get 1 energy for every ship that's on an energy galaxy or planet. I have 2 ships on energy, so I would get 2 energy. If I had some more up in some of these with the energy, I would get more. If I had, instead of energy, culture, and let's say I had a ship here and a ship here, then when I rolled the culture and I activate this, I would get 1 culture for each planet or galaxy that my ships are on. So I would have gotten 2 culture if that was it, and that moves up like that. So what do these energy and cultures do? Well, when I'm rolling dice and I'm activating them, you get 1 free reroll for free. And let's say after my free reroll, I want to reroll again. I would just decrease my energy by 1, and I can reroll any dice that I want. Now, culture. On an opponent's turn, when it's not your turn and you're sitting around and maybe someone, you have a guy over here, and somebody goes and they activate the diplomacy like this. They put it on the activation bay, and they activate it, and they move one of their ships up on a diplomacy. You can actually then use this culture to follow. So you take your culture down 1, and you can follow and use that same die just as if you had done it on your own turn, and you could start moving up. So you can actually be doing quite a bit of work on other people's turn, which is really the crux of this game, I believe. Now on this activation bay, let's say I really needed a die, but I didn't have one. I'm kind of out of rerolls. I don't have any energy. You can use this converter and place 2 dice on the converter, and you'll take another die and make it whatever you want and activate it. Now keep in mind, you need to have the right amount of die. In this case, I would have need to have been able to get 5 dice from my Empire track. But this is a way to kind of get something you really need, but it does cost you 3 dice. Is pretty costly. That's pretty much how the game works. And once somebody gets 21 points, we make sure that everyone has equal number of turns. Once that's done, basically we flip over our special secret cards at the beginning of the game, our goals, and everyone gets points for their goals, and whoever has the most is the winner. If it's tied, the player with the most colonized planets would win. If it's still tied, it's the player with the highest galaxy and their Empire track would win. And if it's still tied, the player with the highest total resources wins. And if it's still tied, well, at that point, share the victory. Now here is a cool player mat that does not come with the base game. This is an additional accessory that you can buy for Tiny Epic Galaxies. And here's clearly where you put the planet deck. And it also tells you how many cards come out for how many players. And this is where you would put out all the planets right on there so everybody can see them nice and easy. Now it is nice. I mean, these are a lot bigger than they need to be, obviously, but it's a big mat. It's nice as you're activating dice, they're going there, or putting dice in the converter right there. It has nice large icons on what the different abilities use. This is really good when teaching new players. Now, just for fun, here's some cool achievements that you would see normally in like an iOS app, where, hey, if you're playing at night, or playing outside, or with only 7-point planets, or with no planet worth more than 2 points, all different ways to try to win the game. Hi, there's Tiny Epic Galaxies. Now, space is not a theme of games that I naturally gravitate towards. Haha, pun intended. But this one I enjoyed quite a bit. I like that it's a small box, that it's somewhat portable, it doesn't take up a lot of shelf space, but yet it still feels like it's got a full-length game in there with it. Now, I typically like dice rolling and I like engine building, so these mechanisms I was pretty interested in and I did enjoy it quite a bit. I like being able to roll the dice and figure out, hey, what am I going to do this turn? What are all my actions? What order do I want to do them in? I like how you get 1 free reroll. So you're like, okay, well, I'm going to take these 2, let's see what else happens. And then I could spend some of my energy. I like how all the mechanisms sort of tie together. I could move up in energy, which is going to give me more rolls. I can move up in culture, which will allow me to use dice on other players' turns. That one mechanism is probably my favorite in the whole game, where I'm setting myself up, I'm ready, and as other people are using dice, I'm using that down to use other people's dice and use it on their turn. That's really cool and really helps with the downtime in this game. So I like the secret goals at the beginning. Anytime you have hidden goals, I'm a happy person. Really cool idea at the beginning. Gives you something to shoot for, gives you an overarching strategy right off the bat. I like also if you're totally stuck, you can use 2 dice in the converter. Now it's really costly. You end up spending 3 dice, but you're getting something there. So overall, I really liked it. I liked when you go to when you move to a planet, you can decide to go right on it and just get that special ability, or you can decide to orbit it, trying to get that thing for the long term and try to get the points and then be able to use those special abilities throughout the game. All of the mechanisms in this game I really liked a lot. I like that it's pretty easy to learn and easy to teach. You know, when I taught this game last, you know, it takes about maybe 3 or 4 turns through where they feel like, okay, now I totally get what's going on here. So they get to play probably, you know, 3/4 of the game left, feeling pretty confident, and that's pretty good because there's a decent amount of stuff going on, but yet at the same time it's pretty intuitive. They all work well together, and I liked it quite a bit. The engine building was cool, trying to figure out which abilities of the planets I want to match, and going for those strategies was fun as well. My only negatives are the components themselves, quality, artwork, quality cards, quality all that. I love the bits. And I know Tiny Epic is sort of this master branding system that they've got going on, which is, done really well and continuing to put games in this product line. But I just wish it was a little bit bigger. Now it looks like the cards that those Galaxies were in could have been bigger. They could have fit in the box bigger, and it really would have made a big difference because, I don't even have that big of hands or fingers, but like I was constantly moving stuff up one track and knocking the planes over or trying to get it on the right track. They didn't quite fit right. I just wish it was a little bit bigger, and they probably could have been, and even increasing it that smaller percentage, sure, maybe it would have made the game cost a little bit more, but I think overall the experience would have been better. The playmat, which isn't part of the game that I showed at the end, is really cool. I like how it puts the cards out there, the different achievements that you can do for fun, puts all the dice in the middle, everyone's kind of hovered around it. It is cool. If you like the game, it's definitely something to up the fun factor of the game for you. So overall, I really liked it. I enjoyed it quite a bit. I could definitely give you a 2 thumbs up recommendation for this game. It's quick, it's fun, it takes probably 30 to 45 minutes to play. Now I will say a couple things on player count. I prefer this game with 2 or 3 players. In fact, that's probably the player count that I would play this in most often. I might play it with 4, but probably not. Definitely would not play with 5. There's just too much. Even with 4 players, there's still going to be some downtime because there's so many decisions to make on your turn. You're rolling and re-rolling and spending energy and re-rolling and doing this and doing that, and other people are following. Even though you can follow in this game, which is awesome and reduces downtime, there might be times where you don't have any culture. And then you're going to be sitting around for a bunch of other players' turns, and it can feel very long. So even though I love the culture and it helps with the downtime, it still doesn't completely remove it from the game. So with that, I'm recommending this for 2 or 3 players. Now the solo game, I did try it. I'm not a huge solo gamer, but I enjoyed it quite a bit. I like how it has different levels. You can play each one of those galaxies that you flip over for the rogue galaxy. It makes it harder or easier depending on which level you pick. So I like that you can kind of get into it easy and make it harder. And it did feel like I was playing the same game, but yet it still felt different. So overall, thumbs up on the solo, but overall, very fun game, Tiny Epic Galaxies.
This video was sponsored by Miniature Market's Review Corner. The Review Corner features podcasts, video, and written game reviews by gamers for gamers. Miniature Market, the online gaming superstore. Thousands of board games, discounted prices. Check them out at miniaturemarket.com. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for backing me on Kickstarter and making this season become a reality. I'd like to especially thank those here that have backed me at the credit level. Now, these video reviews are also available by audio on our podcast. It's the intros and the final thoughts on GameBoyGeek.com. Click podcast.